Good morning everyone。時刻は9時25分を回りました。皆さんおはようございます。モータースポーツの聖地、鈴鹿サーキットにようこそお越しくださいました。そして 2024FIA F1 世界選手権シリーズ MSC クルーズ日本グランプリレースにようこそ。さあ、早くもですね、エキゾーストサウンドが1コーナーに向けて響き渡っております。F1 日本グランプリレース、このですね、今日の決勝日のですね、オープニングを飾るレースのスタート進行が今始まりました。皆さん改めまして鈴鹿サーキットにようこそお越しくださいました。わあ、西コースもすごいたくさんのお客さんだ。皆さんありがとうございます。 130R の方がのスタンドがですね、放送席からも見ることができます。これからですね、本当に爆音と V8 のサウンドがですね、西コースにも響き渡りますので、ぜひね、フェラーリのドライバーたちが前を通りましたら、ぜひ応援フラッグなんかをですね、振っていただいて、特にフェラーリを応援する気持ちの皆さんの大好きなフェラーリの時間です。ぜひそのフェラーリのフラッグを振って、みんなを応援しているよというですね、そのアクションを見せてください。お願いします。さあ、最初のレースになります。フェラーリチャレンジトロフィーオブピューリージャパン。実況は私、レースアナウンサーの杉野博がお届けしてまいります。どうぞよろしくお付き合いください。さあ、最初のですね、レースになります。フェラーリチャレンジトロフィーオブピューリージャパン。昨日もね、レースが開催されましたので、昨日ご覧になられた方もたくさんいらっしゃると思いますけども、フェラーリを使いましたワンメイクレースとなります。使用するマシンはフェラーリ488チャレンジエボ V 型8気筒 3.9 リッターターボエンジンを搭載します。このモンスターマシンで戦うジェントルマンのためのレースとなります。最大トルクは260、最大トルクは760ニュートンメーター、そして最高出力は670馬力を絞り出します。この V 型8気筒 3.9 リッターターボエンジンをヒットシリーズのレイアウトで搭載するのは正式なですね。このフェラーリ488をですね、ベースにしたチャレンジエボという車はですね、2020年からこのフェラーリチャレンジで使われています。それまでもフェラーリ458だったりとか、フェラーリ488だったりとか、いろいろですね、その車両というのは現状にいるんですけども、2020年からは、フェラーリ488チャレンジエボ、またはですね、フェラーリの488にですね、レボリューションパーツを装着して、戦うというですね、そんなシリーズになっています。昨年から2023年からですね、日本シリーズとなりますフェラーリチャレンジトロフィーオブジャパンが始まりました。今シーズンはジャパンシリーズとしては2シーズン目ということになってきます。そんな中ですね、そのフェラーリチャレンジ、非常にここ最近盛り上がりを見せているんですけども、今年はですね、台数も増えまして、そして今年は鈴鹿でね、6月にはフェラーリレーシングデイズも開催されるということで、たくさんのエントリーを今回集めております。全28台がこの後スターティンググリッドに並んでいきます。さあ、このフェラーリチャレンジなんですけども、先ほどからご紹介している通り、フェラーリ488チャレンジエボを使うワンメイクレースとなります。2022年まではですね、フェラーリチャレンジアジアパシフィックとして、日本でもですね、レースが開催されておりました。アジア各国を転戦する形のですね、シリーズ戦だったんですけども、鈴鹿でもね、フェラーリレーシングレースの中だったりとか、あるいはニューラクラスワンレースの中だったりとかで、開催をされてきていました。そして2023年からは完全に日本のサーキットだけで戦うシリーズへと変更を遂げています。日本もですね、本当に熱いフェラーリオーナーが多いですからね、そのフェラーリオーナーのサーキットデビュー、実際の本当にですね、公式戦としてのレースデビューをですね、サポートするのがこのフェラーリチャレンジです。フェラーリチャレンジ2024年シーズンは今週末の鈴鹿サーキットから開幕をいたしまして、そして5月11日、12日が富士スピードウェイ、そして第3戦となりますのが6月の7日から9日、ス ポーツランド出場、そして第4戦が6月の29日から30日、フェラーリレーシングデイズの中で開催されます鈴鹿サーキット、そして第5戦が8月23日から25日の岡山国際サーキットということで、全5ラウンド10レースが開催されまして、もう8月の末にはですねそのシーズンがクローズしてしまうんですけども、10月16日から20日にかけてはですねイタリアのイモラサーキットで、世界中のですねフェラーリチャレンジのドライバーたちが集まってですね、ファイナルを競うというですねフィナーリ・モンディアリワールドファイナルが開催されていきます。さあ各社は今スターティンググリッドにですね向かっております。総勢28台、全部合わせると一体おいくらでしょうというぐらいのですね本当にとんでもないですね豪華なスターティンググリッドになっております。昨日クラッシュしてしまったマシンもありましたけどもね、なんとかスターティンググリッドに並べているでしょうか。全車並ぶかな、これ最後尾のマシンまでしっかりとスターティンググリッドにつくでしょうか。いやーこれすごいですね、全車並びましたよね。これね109番の白崎選手まで並んでますからね。いやー昨日結構リアからね1コーナー突っ込んでしまったマシンもありましたから、それをねしっかりとメカニックの皆さん、フェラーリ正規ディーラーの皆さんが修復してこのスターティンググリッドに並べてくれました。まずは皆さんどうぞ大きな拍手を。いや素晴らしい。昨日もねちょっと実況の中でお伝えしましたけどもね、ディーラー同士でですね戦う、シリーズ戦ということにはなっているんですけども、誰かクラッシュをしたね、ドライバーがいたらですね、他のディーラーのメカニックもですねみんなで一緒になって手伝ってですね、このマシンを修復するそうです。そして、フェラーリはですねこういったワンメイクレースのプログラムというのをですね、たくさん用意しております。西パドックにですね実際このマシンはメンテナンスガレージが設けられているんですけども、そこにはですね、もしクラッシュしてしまったマシンのですね、修復用のですねスペアパーツというのをですね、豊富に揃えておりますので、たった一晩でですねしっかりと直して、ドライバーたちにですねそのレースをするチャンスをですね作っておりますね。素晴らしい。さあそんなですね、フェラーリチャレンジトロフェオピレージジャパン、昨日は古谷優雅が見事優勝を飾ったレースになりましたけども、さあどんなですね、今日はレースになっていくでしょうか。さあこの後のスタート進行なんですけども、9時40分になりますと、ローリングラップがスタートとなります。さあそれではそろそろスターティンググリッドご紹介してまいりましょう。さあドライバーの名前呼ばれましたら皆さんぜひ大きな拍手を送ってください。フェラーリチャレンジトロフィオピエージジャパンレッツスターティンググリッドです。見事ポールポジションからのスタートを勝ち取ったのはカーナンバー1番です。2023年のフェラーリチャレンジジャパンチャンピオン、昨日は2位でフィニッシュしましたロッソスクーメディアから内田雄大。フロントロー2番手からのスタートはカーナンバー2番、昨日は4番手スタートから見事優勝を飾りました。レース運びのうまさはさすがプロドライバーです。23歳の若手フェラーリジャパンから古谷優雅。3番グリッドからのスタートはカーナンバー4番です。昨日はピレリクラス3位表彰台を獲得いたしました。昨年ワールドファイナルでも活躍した最強ジェントルマンドライバーの1人、ロストスクーデニアからカーナンバー4番は今田信弘。そして4番手からのスタートはカーナンバー15、昨日ピレリ AM クラスピレリアマクラスで3位表彰台を獲得しましたコーンズ大阪からカーナンバー15ゴールドマックス、ピレリアマクラスのポールシッターです。そして5番手からのスタートはカーナンバー16、昨日は総合3位表彰台、ついに F1 の表彰台に上りましたコーンズ名古屋からカーナンバー16は秋田。6番手からのスタートはカーナンバー51、昨日はアグレッシブな走りを見せて総合5位フィニッシュでした。カーナンバー51コーンズ大阪から矢倉寛治。7番手からのスタートはカーナンバー192番、こちらはシェルクラスのポールシッターになります。昨日は最後に痛恨のスピンアウトになってしまいましたけどもね、今日はリベンジのレースです。エモートイタリアから国広雄一。8番手からのスタートはカーナンバー81番、昨日はたくさんのバトルを見せてくれて9位フィニッシュになりました。コーンズ大阪からカーナンバー81飯谷敦。 そして9番手からのスタートはカーナンバー55、こちらは元 F3 ドライバーでもあります。コーンズ芝から磯崎元彦。そして10番手からのスタートはカーナンバー18番、アメリカからの参戦です。フェラーリオブサンフランシスコからカーナンバー18はジェームス・フォイラン。そして11番手からのスタートはカーナンバー124番。
It's Sunday morning here at Suzuka. It is race 2 of the weekend for Ferrari Challenge Japan, and it is a very exciting half-hour plus 1 lap race that we have in prospect here. This man, Yudai Uchida, will be up there towards the front of the order in this. He starts from pole position, the driver who finished second yesterday, looking to come out on top in this one, but he'll have to fight this man, Yuga Furitani, also starting on the front row. We have a full grid of 28 cars. Let's go straight to the grid for this one. It's Uchida and Furitani on the front row. Row 2 of the grid, Nobuhiro Imada and Coldmax. Coldmax, the first of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. 5th place, Akita. He'll be looking to get on the podium again. So excited yesterday. Kanji Yagura in 6th. Ryuichi Kunihiro in 7th place, and Atsushi Iritani in 8th. Motohiko Isozaki in 9th position, alongside James Whalen, who had an incredible race yesterday, made up a lot of positions. Yaneda and Shimoyama on the 6th row. Kazutaka Miura and Phil Kim 13th and 14th. Norikazu Shibata and Ryotari Saito 15th and 16th. Fukuda Kenichi in 17th. Hiroyuki Katayama in 18th. Nariki Kawasaki in P19 and Masafumi Himatachi in 20th place. 21st, John Leo, Yoshifumi Komatsu in 22nd, Nakajima and Matsumoto in 23rd and 24th. Omuri, Kurakawa, Shirasaki and Yamaguchi round out a record grid, 28 cars taking the start, the biggest grid we've had in Ferrari Challenge Japan history. Really a fabulous grid of cars that we have this weekend, and the cars are ready to go. The legion of Ferrari engineers now vacating the circuit, the crews willing on their drivers after all of their hard work. It now comes down to this. It comes down to this last 30-minute plus 1 lap race. There is Coldmax, who'll be starting as first of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. There are 4 categories of drivers here. Trofeo Pirelli for our most experienced and often our fastest drivers. Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers never far behind, always in the mix for overall podiums as well. And then there are the Copa Shell and Copa Shell AM categories for the drivers newer to the world of racing. And sometimes you can see those Copa Shell drivers throw in a surprise and get right in amongst it, as we saw on a few occasions in race 1 yesterday. Of course, this is Japanese Grand Prix Sunday, so that means that we have a big crowd. That means that we have a lot on the line for our drivers. Everyone wants to be on the podium here at Suzuka on Japanese Grand Prix weekend, and we saw that from Akita in particular yesterday. He was delighted to finish 3rd overall and stand on that podium. In fact, yesterday in the post-race press conference, he said that that was truly a dream come true for him. And if you're watching with us yesterday and saw him in the green room on the podium, you will know exactly that he is being completely honest. He clearly had been thinking about that for a while, and it was fabulous to see him find that dream. Yuga Furitani then, from the outside of the front row, will be one of the drivers to watch out for. Furitani in the race, on the first lap of the race, I should say, yesterday went from 4th to 1st. This time he starts from P2. The wet qualifying that we had on Friday threw up a few surprises, but Furitani, the highly experienced driver, just 23 years of age, A very, very potent driver indeed, and we saw that yesterday. He really did control the race despite safety car interventions, despite the challenges of this Suzuka circuit, and despite an unfamiliar car, brand new to Ferrari Challenge. Of course, not brand new to GT racing, as I may have alluded to yesterday. He is, of course, a bit more experienced than I gave him credit for in a GT car, because he was in Super GT last year and has also done some Super TQ prior to that as well. So a little bit more familiar with having a roof over his head, but still fairly new to this car, embedding himself into it magnificently. And he had a lot of praise to say for this, the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo, in its final season, of course, in Japan and the UK. The new 296 is gradually being rolled out around the Ferrari Challenge spectrum. And there you see everyone in the pit lane, very excited to see these cars go racing. What a wonderful multi-coloured grid it is as well. A lot of gorgeous liveries up and down the field. Quite a few of these drivers do have a say in what their cars end up looking like as well. There you go. Everyone wants to get their moment in front of the camera as we now head on to this formation lap. Then it will, of course, be a rolling start. 30 minutes plus 1 lap scheduled for this race. Yesterday, we did see one safety car intervention, but we also saw a lot of action. One of the main incidents that you may remember from yesterday was contact down at the hairpin, and that was for the 152 car. That was Tsutomu Shimoyama. He made contact with our only South Korean driver, Phil Kim, and it was actually decided that Shimoyama was responsible for that collision, and a 30-second penalty added to his time meant he lost the Copa Shell Am win to Masafumi Hiwatashi. So a change in the postscript there within Copa Shell Am. We'll see whether or not Shimoyama can move up the order in this race. He'll be starting from row 6, from 12th position, as the first of the Copa Shell Am drivers. Other ones to watch through the order, I would suggest again keeping an eye on James Wayland in the Ferrari of San Francisco number 18 car, our American friend who has been racing in Ferrari Challenge for north of a decade and has often traveled the various continental series to take in the best circuits in the world. And it is with that spirit that he is here at Suzuka for the Ferrari Challenge Japan opening weekend. Yesterday, Wayland went from 12th to 6th over the course of the race. This time he starts from P10. He'll be looking to try and get a top 5 finish, if at all possible, to round out what has been a stellar weekend so far. So the Suzuka circuit, over 5 kilometers in length, 5.8 kilometers in length, 3.6 miles in old money, and 18 corners across the layout. A lot of challenges for the drivers. The dynamic, of course, S-bends, the S-curves, uphill through the first sector in big GT cars. Quite the daunting challenge, but one that our drivers take with gusto head on. Of course, especially on that first lap, everybody trying to find some track space, trying to find some room to fit their Ferrari through. We'll see if anyone can pick up some places in the early going as well. For Yudai Uchida, it's going to be about holding on to that lead from pole position in the early stages. He'll be keen to get a maximum haul of points on the board in this race number 2. Of course, Yuga Furitani, who won race number 1, is not set to be a full season competitor in this series. He's one of a few drivers that we'll see coming into the Ferrari Japan entered car to showcase young Japanese talent. But nonetheless, Yudai Uchida would be very keen to try and show young Furitani why he is one of the highest rated drivers in Ferrari Challenge Japan. The reigning champion, first raced in the series in 2019 and immediately took a race victory. He has won countless times since then, and we'll see if he can make it one more P1 trophy in the collection. One of the most sought after trophies of the Ferrari Challenge Japan season. who will walk away with the big pot on this Japanese Grand Prix Sunday? Who will stand atop the podium here at Suzuka in race 2 of the season? They line up in 2x2 formation, and those red lights will extinguish, signaling the start of this 30-minute race. The lights go out now, and we are racing. 28 cars fire towards the first corner, and it is Yudai Uchida who leads them into turn 1, or is it? No, because Yuga Furitani right there with him around the outside in turns 1 and 2, and they collide immediately. Contact between both of them, and Uchida isn't playing games. He holds on to the lead there. A couple of hip checks between them. Furitani then is going to have some work to do to try and get past Uchida on this Sunday morning. Behind them in third place is Nobuhiro Imada. Imada there in third position. Then it is in fourth place Kanji Yagura. So Yagura has managed to get himself past Coldmax as well in fourth position. But what a statement that was there from Yudai Uchida. He was making sure he was going to lead this race in the early stages and give Yuga Furitani something to think about. They come out through the Degners and under the bridge for the first time then. And the top two already with a few car lengths over the third place man, Nobuhiro Imada. You can see there Furitani trying to square the exit there out of the hairpin, get a better run up the hill to try and challenge Yudai Uchida. Let's see whether Furitani can maybe get a good run out of Spoon and challenge into 130R. He got from fourth to first yesterday in the first lap of the race. So far, he's not been able to find a way through for the lead in the first lap this time around. Uchida holding off for the time being. It's car number 1 from car number 2 in positions 1 and 2 as they head towards 130R for the first time. Of course, 130R, you see they have to tap the brakes through there. Corners practically flat out in the main event, the Japanese Grand Prix later on. Well, it is flat out in the Japanese Grand Prix later on, not the case in these Ferrari challenge machines. Very well balanced car. Obviously a much heavier machine as well. The top two then across the line. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Furitani, though, looking to the inside at the first corner. Couldn't get it done there. Uchida late on the brakes and dove across to the apex of the first corner. You can see, just with the body language of the car, how hard Uchida is pushing. Uchida really having to fight to try and keep Furitani behind him. And we have a car into the pit lane at Shimoyama. The driver who lost the Copa Shell Am win yesterday has unfortunately lost his rear right tyre on the very first lap of the race this time. Further yellow flags in sector 1 as Uchida leads Furitani through the Degners. There you see again, not just the tyre, it looks like suspension damage as well. Corner Shiba entry, unlikely to go any further then over the course of this race distance. Furitani following the reigning champion, Uchida. Uchida in the number 1 car is considered something of a master of Ferrari challenge within the Asian region, a 3-time champion across the former Asia Pacific Series and Ferrari Challenge Japan. A good measuring stick for Furitani then. Our leader in Trofeo Pirelli Am is Yagura in 4th place. Copa Shell leader is Ryuichi Kunihiro, who sat in 7th place last time across the line. And your Copa Shell Am leader is the 199 driver Phil Kim. Phil Kim, who of course was knocked out of the Copa Shell Am lead yesterday. He would dearly love to avenge that and get a first place trophy on the board this weekend. Our top two then come across the line, some bodywork down there on the main straight, and that gets picked up there by Imada. Holdmax also running over that. Doesn't look like it is bodywork, actually. It might be a piece of vinyl off of one of the car's liveries. Coldmax and Akita go through the first corner as we get a look at the replays of the start of the race. And we saw, of course, immediately statements of intent from Uchida. He was going to hold on to this lead. Both of them met in the middle through 1 and 2. There was some drama further back as well as the 1-2-4 car got its nose cut off. That was Masaru Yaneda getting a little bit of contact. And then, of course, the big story was not just one, but 2 collisions between our first and second place drivers at the start. And there you see the 199 and the 152 getting into each other. So it was a reverse of yesterday's incident. This time it was Kim into Shimoyama. And you can see Phil Kim's got some scars from that one. But certainly 152 Shimoyama going no further. Hopefully Phil Kim can continue, but that car perhaps not in fighting fit condition. He was the leader in Koba-Shellam. He is not leading Koba-Shellam anymore. As Uchida continues to hold off Furitani in the battle for the lead, it does seem as though Imada is closing in. Nobuhiro Imada in 3rd place is at the very least staying with them. I think he may even be closing in as Uchida continues to defend hard against Furitani. Furitani, a fast young pro. Uchida, lets him have the inside there. Has Furitani got it stopped? No, he has not. That was a very fast approach into the final chicane. Turned out it was too fast. And Furitani is going to let him have the position back, but only just letting him have the position back. Uchida crosses the line then once again as the leader, but Furitani is right there behind him as they run down towards the first corner once again. Carrying a lot more momentum there through turn 2 as well. But Furitani certainly starting to pursue his options, trying to find his way through. Here they go through the S's once again then. And Furitani is really making Uchida drive through the mirrors, and because of that, it's bringing Imada into the scrap as well. This is a brilliant 3-way battle for the lead between our 3 fastest drivers in the Trofeo Pirelli class. Ferrari Challenge Japan putting on a great show here to open up Japanese Grand Prix Sunday. Of course, all of these drivers with good levels of experience. Furitani not in the Ferrari Challenge previously, but he has got a lot of racing experience, has been a champion in junior single-seaters. Uchida, a 3-time champion in Ferrari Challenge. And Nobuhiro Imada with quite a lot of accolades to his name as well. Decided or was projected to be Uchida's main competition across the season this year. Furitani with the one-off entry, though, is proving to be a thorn in both of their sides. And again, Uchida getting good runs out of these corners, just doing enough to stay ahead at the moment. Let's see then if Furitani can make it work this time. Last time at the triangle, he went too deep. He was too ambitious. This time, Uchida covers off the inside. He didn't do this a lap ago. Oh, they collide. The wing mirror folded in there by the number 2 on the number 2 car. And Furitani gets a poor run out of the corner as well. Imada in the slipstream. The car's running down towards the first corner once again. We're already the better part of 10 minutes into this race. It has flown by so far. You see there the gap between Furitani and Imada, fluctuating under that half-second bracket. Here they go. Get a look at a bit of a replay of that attempted move from Furitani around the outside. Both drivers folding in their wing mirrors there. Of course, a lap prior to that, we saw Furitani just completely missing his braking point into the chicane. both of these drivers putting everything into this fight, and it is making for a very exciting motor race. Further back in the field, James Wayland has moved up to 7th position from 10th on the grid. He is third in Trofeo Pirelli Am, as Uchida there going shallow into the hairpin. He's made it work for himself, but I thought he might have gone too deep into the corner, but no, actually squared it up very, very nicely. There, unfortunately, is Phil Kim. Had a feeling that that car wasn't going to last after that collision with Shimoyama. And Phil Kim, no further action in this race. Furitani with a lot of action so far in this race. Again, looking to the inside, again, not finding a way through. Yudai Uchida is playing the role of the brick wall in this one. And scaling and passing it is proving to be very difficult for Yuga Furitani. And every time he tries a little bit too hard to get past Uchida, Imada shows himself in this three-way battle. Again, they're side by side going through the triangle. This time Furitani has the inside, but again, Uchida makes sure the lead stays with him. Little bit of wheel spin there out of the corner from Furitani, but he still gets a good run down the main straight. He will have the advantage of the slipstream, but I don't know that Furitani is going to be close enough into the corner. Look at how late and committed Uchida is under braking there. He braked at the very last opportunity, but was it at the expense of corner speed at turn 2? They're side by side, and again, Uchida squeezing him out. This is great defensive driving from the wily veteran of Ferrari Challenge, showing the young man Furitani that he knows exactly where to place this car. But here comes Furitani. If he can get a nose to the inside at the last of the S's, he couldn't quite do it there. It's definitely a three-car battle. Oh, Furitani with a slide there. That was a heart-in-mouth moment. I was just going to say that Imada has made it a three-car battle once again, and I think Furitani may have glanced in the mirrors and realised that himself, hence the black 11s he left out of the corner. Stunning, stunning racing. Again, Uchida taking alternative line into the hairpin. As this battle continues, let's take a look then as we see, I think this is Cold Max getting into it there with one of the others. That's the 16 car, that's Akita and the 48 actually. So Akita and I think that was Cold Max. And oh, the 125 car having a moment there at the triangle as well. That is Katayama having a moment, but manages to get the car back in the right direction. So lots going on further back in the field, but as you can appreciate, with these three fighting out for the lead, a lot of our attention is being diverted on this very, very exciting battle. Cold Max Akita also fighting it out for 5th position. That is for 2nd in Trofeo Pirelli Am. So there are a few exciting battles out there in this race. Every time Uchida gets one more attempt from Furitani, of course, it kind of resets the battle. There is the battle for 5th and 6th place I was talking about. Yagura just going through the bottom of your shot now is the Pirelli Am leader. This is the battle for 2nd in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Cold Max in 5th place, Akita in 6th position. Of course, you see they're both affiliated with the Cornes dealership group, albeit different branches of Ferrari's biggest Japanese partner. And that means absolutely no allegiances between them, I suspect. The 15 and the 16 car fighting it out for 5th and 6th position. Of course, Akita got that experience yesterday of standing on the podium here at Suzuka, and he'd love to repeat that, but he's got a lot of work to do if he's even to get into the top 5, because Cold Max is making his car very, very wide. Cold Max, another veteran of Ferrari Challenge Racing. He's been in this category since 2018. Nearly half distance in this race then, 16 minutes plus 1 lap left to go. And the question at some point has to be, can Yudai Uchida keep this going for the entire race distance? This is a real test of mental fortitude to have to hold off someone for this long, this sternly, and this often. Don't forget, yesterday, when Furitani took the win, it was proven that once he got out to the front, more often than not, he had the pace to get away. So Uchida knows that he needs to make the car wide, and he doesn't need to give Furitani a single opportunity. It's been close, it's been respectful racing, but it has been very exciting. Akita going wide there at Spoon. Cold Max retaining the position. Cold Max still holding on in this battle against Akita, but on that occasion, Akita ran out of road. We're now going to get a look at what happened there between Cold Max and Akita. Akita had a look to the inside by the looks of it. Yes, he did. And that was very, very ambitious, and didn't quite get the car stopped in time, but a signal of intent then from Akita to Cold Max. Cold Max is saying, well, yes, I know you want to try and get past me, but you have to get it stopped for the corner. Uchida and Furitani have again built a bit of an advantage over Imada, and again Cold Max under threat from Akita, who again goes off the circuit there. He's trying everything. He's held it around the outside at turn 1 and 2, but he hasn't quite got it done. Great attacking driving here from Akita, but he's yet to make it work against Cold Max, who is putting his car in all the right places in this battle for second in the Trofeo Pirelli AM category. To circle back around to our other classes briefly, your Copa Shell leader is the 192 car. That is Ryuichi Kunihiro. The Copa Shell AM leader is Saito in the 127 car. He sits in 14th overall. Great battles up and down the order, as always. We see it in this battle for 5th place. We see it in the battle for the lead as well. And Cold Max and Akita going at it. Certainly not the first time these two have fought. It won't be the last either. We're going to get treated to stuff like this all season long across the 5 events of the 2024 Ferrari Challenge Japan. Here comes that battle for 5th place once again then. Of course, while this is happening, Yagura is disappearing up the road. He'll be willing on both Cold Max and Akita to continue throwing the furniture at each other, because that means he can disappear away. Akita with the slipstream on Cold Max. Will he have one of those spectacular moves that he's been attempting as they run down to the chicane? It could just be that Akita has a go here. He's got a good run through 130R. He's got the outside line. He was just waiting there to see if the inside would open up, but instead he sacrifices the corner. No, Cold Max went too deep, but he managed to square it off actually quite nicely. Akita, I think, wasn't quite sure where Cold Max was going, and decided discretion was the better part of valor. He's now in the slipstream of Cold Max once again as they run down to the first corner. Akita looks to the inside, can't get it done there. Quite a few passing opportunities around this circuit, but you kind of have to set a lot of these moves up at the corner before. If you want to make a move work at Spoon, you need a good run out of the hairpin. If you want to move into turn 1, you need to get that final chicane right. And we have side by side for the lead. Uchida this time with a nose behind Furitani. And after almost 20 minutes of defending, Furitani has managed to get past Yudai Uchida. Yuga Furitani is through into the race lead in the number 2 car. Can Uchida fight back? It's going to be a big ask from this position. Is that the definitive move of this race? Furitani is our new race leader. Finally got it done then at the S's, where he often looks so fast. And I believe we're going to take a look at how that one got set up in just a few moments. Furitani is through. Here we go out then, having a look back at it. Furitani had already set it up, coming through the last couple of parts of the S's. That was Furitani's moment to finally get past Uchida. The battle for 5th place persists then. Second in Pirelli AM as well, of course. That's important for the championship points. Even at this early stage of the season, they'll be considering championship points, but I think Akita would rather be in second than third. He's not going to sit there in third place to collect the championship points. I think he's fully committed to winning this battle that has been ongoing for a majority of the race. Max again with a shallow entry into the final part of the chicane. Akita there with a lot of power put through the rear Pirellis. Trying to get a good run out of the corner. He improved a lot in 2023. His racecraft improves almost weekend on weekend. We're seeing that again here. Has he got the inside line into turn one? Oh, he's not quite close enough, but tried to get his nose to the inside. Max and Akita will be well clear, incidentally, of their closest competition. That is Wayland in 7th place, some 15 seconds up the road. We now get a look back again to Miura in the 104 car, having a moment. I believe that's at the Degners. Miura going rally crossing. Meanwhile, oh, a big dive there from Yasutaka Shirasaki, and well, it did work. Masaru Yaneda quite heads up there to let him through, and Yaneda tried to fight back. Great scrapping further down the order. We now have a battle developing for 2nd and 3rd place. I think this is going to be the most representative fight of what we're going to see in the championship across the season. And wouldn't Imada love to get an opportunity to get past Uchida, try and get some momentum going into our next round in Fuji. Nobuhiro Imada and Uchida, of course, both racing for Rosso Scuderia as well, so they are teammates in the strictest sense, but that isn't going to mean that any gloves are on in this battle. Some lap traffic up ahead as well that could prove to be a factor in this fight. Furitani, of course, will clear the way first for them. Furitani, incidentally, will be hoping he doesn't get held up. He's been building a lead over the scrapping pair for 2nd place. He doesn't want to lose that in the traffic. Flashing the headlights there, our race leader, saying, I hope you know I'm there. Goes to the inside at turn 1, and quite respectful driving there as everyone makes sure the leaders can get through. Go through the S's. Yellow flag is out in sector 1, but that was only momentary, so perhaps someone finding the grass a little bit, but continuing on unabated. Uchida and Imada, with Imada looking to the inside, contact between them. Oh dear, Imada thought he saw the door open, and Uchida ends up in the gravel. Manages to get the car out of the gravel, which is certainly not a given at the deep gravel traps of Suzuka. So Uchida heads back out. Oh, look at all the gravel he's laying down. That is a lot of gravel being expelled from the rear of that Ferrari 488. He continues on in 3rd place, but he's going to make that track very treacherous on the approach to the Degners. Again, Imada just had a look to the inside. They met in the middle. I said just moments prior, of course, that they both represent the same dealership. It's certainly a bit of a collision between them. So we'll see how that one is looked into post-race, I imagine. Akita there behind Max then. Still just waiting in the wings for an opportunity. I think after those initial quite ambitious dives, Akita is now trying to find an opportunity, albeit it does look like he's losing some time overall to Max at the moment. Elsewhere in the field, the Copa Shell battle is very close. The 192 and the 104 fighting out for 10th overall. That's the Copa Shell lead battle. So Kudahiro and Miura fighting it out. Of course, we've already seen Miura make a mistake in this race, so they're having a good scrap. Copa Shell Am still being led by the 127 car, Ryotaro Saito. But the overall leader and the Trofeo Pirelli leader is Furitani in the number 2. He leads by 3.8 seconds now. As somewhat expected, once he got through into the lead, he has disappeared a little bit up the road. And sixth place go then at the S's here at Suzuka. Such a wonderful section of the circuit. Here is the battle for 10th place then. This is the battle we mentioned between Kunihiro and Miura. These two fighting out for the Copa Shell lead battle at the moment. The 192 car, Kunihiro, is leading that scrap for now. Miura has been trying to find his way back into it then. The M Alto Italia driver, Kunihiro, just a few tenths clear of Miura at the moment. I think they have been swapping and fighting here and there over the course of this one. Very exciting to see these two so close together in what will be, in their cases, a fairly new entry or a fairly new pursuit, this motor racing. For Kazutaka Miura, he debuted in Ferrari Challenge last year here at Suzuka. He's only ever raced at Suzuka in Ferrari Challenge. For Kunihiro, I believe this is also a fairly new endeavour for him. He first appeared in Ferrari Challenge back in 2019. But he has been a bit sporadic at times. Was, however, third in Copa Shell last year. So he'll be looking to go one, maybe two better in 2024. There is our leader then, Yuga Furitani. He's actually lost some time in the lap traffic over the course of the last lap or so, but I think at this point he's just managing the gap and getting the car to the flag. 3.5 minutes plus 1 lap left to go. So once the clock hits 0, that means he will only cross the line once more before it is the final lap. Some more lap traffic up ahead. Of course, it is Imada who sits in second place. His car will be a little bit wounded after that collision with Ishida. Komatsu going a lap down there on Furitani. Komatsu running 20th overall. Of course, it was Komatsu yesterday who had that big accident down at turn 1. Looks like they've got a different chassis out here today for him, so he's in another car, but they have got him out and racing again. 181 car in a spin. That's Shibata making his way back onto the circuit. Norikazu Shibata. Possibly just a little bit of a spin there, but he's got the car back under control quickly. Has he lost any positions in that? I think he has done. Shibata was running 16th place. He might have dropped a couple of places as a result of that. Through the 130R bend we go then. We now get a look at Imada as 181 car going very wide there. That's again Shibata. Saw Shibata just misjudging the chicane a little bit there. Easy done, of course. 130R immediately leading into the deep braking zone of the triangle. There's our top two then, appearing behind some of our drivers further back. You can see Imada with his damage on that car, but it's not holding him up. He's going quicker than Furitani. The gap is shrinking between the two of them. We've also just had a switch between Miura and Kunihiro around the circuit as well. So Miura, as it stands, has moved into the Copa Shell lead. Still jostling all the way through the field. Imada looking to try and close in. I think he's going to run out of time. This is the penultimate lap. A replay of the 150 car in a spin. That's Amuri just getting the car turned around. Nicely done there by him to get it pointed the right way as quick as possible. Furitani under the bridge then for what will be the penultimate time in this race. he'll be again hoping that he can dispatch this lap traffic without too much difficulty. Less than 3 seconds between himself and Imada, and the gap has been fluctuating, but largely falling in Imada's favour. It would be a big stretch, of course, for anything to happen here at the front between the two of them in terms of position switch, but with lap traffic to contend with, that certainly means that Furitani doesn't have a clear road home. Gets past the 143 car easily there, Kenichi allowing him the inside line. Next one he has to dispatch is Shibata, of course, who we saw had that moment just over a lap ago. Blue flags flying for our drivers, and they will be respected. But Furitani, of course, will hope he gets minimal disruption. Oh, he's not sure whether to go to the inside or the outside there. Does trip himself up a little bit as a result of that then. And that narrows the gap between himself and Imada. But of course, Imada now has to get past the same two cars himself. Clock has hit 0 then. 1 lap to go. Oh, and it's Miura who has had a spin at the hairpin. This was the leader in Copa Shell. He'd gotten past Kunihiro in the last couple of laps, but now he has a damaged machine, and his hopes of winning in Copa Shell have been dashed. I think we're going to get a look here at what happened. Oh, that was a big collision between Miura and Kunihiro. So that was the Copa Shell lead battle imploding there effectively. And then is this the 192 having a moment? Yes. Okay, so neither party got out of that one unscathed. Kunihiro also with issues, and that's going to hand the Copa Shell lead and quite possibly the Copa Shell win to the driver of the 109 car. So the 109 car, Shirasaki, currently away down the order, but he will inherit the Copa Shell lead by the look of it. He started 27th and will be up in 15th place, I think. So he's 10th place, sorry. So Shirasaki from 27th to 10th and taking the Copa Shell win. Very good for him. Furitani, while he had to fight very hard in the early stages of this race, he has masterfully built the gap. Of course, Uchida and Imada had a collision behind him. But Furitani, once he finally found his way past Yudai Uchida, the victory really didn't look like it was going to be in doubt. He built the lead. He has once again shown his class. On his first weekend in a Ferrari challenge machine, the Super GT driver, 23-year-old Furitani, is going to make it 2 from 2 on the biggest weekend in the Japanese motorsport calendar, the Japanese Grand Prix. Not just once, but twice. It will be Yuga Furitani that steps onto the podium at Suzuka. He sweeps the weekend. Imada takes 2nd position. Uchida will take 3rd place eventually with his wounded machine. There is some squabbling further back as well. Cold Max there has got Yagura in his sights, but it's not quite going to be. Yagura is going to hold on to the Pirelli Am victory, 4th overall as well. Cold Max not quite able to challenge him. Akita rounding out the Trofeo Pirelli Am podium with 6th overall. Of course, just ahead of them did finish Uchida in 3rd place. There's the winner, Yuga Furitani in the Ferrari Japan entry. This is a car that I think we're going to see a couple of very exciting young Japanese talents in through the season. And Furitani has set the benchmark. 2 wins from 2, a perfect weekend, and a lot of squabbling to get to the front with a determined Yudai Uchida. The first few laps of that race were fraught at the front of the order. There just behind is Imada. You see there the scars of battle, but Nobuhiro Imada will be delighted to take P2. Of course, we'll see all 3 on the podium as well. See whether Uchida and Imada have a discussion, a little bit of a debrief after their moment. There is Uchida in third position. Of course, he started on pole, and it was clear that he wanted to try and turn that into a victory. He couldn't quite do it today, but he still will leave this weekend as a favourite. Of course, last year's champion, the inaugural champion in Ferrari Challenge Japan. He ends his first weekend of the season with 2 podiums. He will be happy with that result. I think for the driver of the 51, Kanji Yagura, he's going to be very happy with the Pirelli Am win. To just quickly circle around, Shirasaki did indeed cross the line to win in Copa Shell, and the Shell Am victory went to Saito, who effectively held that lead for the entirety of the race. Ryotaro Saito then winning in Copa Shell Am. 4 classes, 28 cars, a record entry list this weekend in Ferrari Challenge Japan, and we have had no shortage of entertainment for our fans here. Kicking off Sunday here at Suzuka on Japanese Grand Prix weekend. You see there the cars heading down to the podium directly, so no chauffeur-driven Ferrari Purosangue this time for our top 3. But they do get to park their car under the podium, and that will of course be a pinch yourself moment, I think, for our drivers. What a feeling that must be. There is then Furitani. We'll leave this weekend with a perfect record in Ferrari Challenge, based on what he was talking about as he just struggles to get the buckle undone. He was talking about this car after race 1 in the press conference. He loves this 488 Challenge Evo, and he'll be looking to maybe have another go down the line in one of these cars, or of course the 296, the brand new for 2024 car that we'll see in the European and North American series this year. But the delight plain to see for him and his team. And there, 2 thumbs up. That's a solid review. Thank you very much, Mr. Imada. Or is that Uchida? I can't quite read the helmet, but there is Furitani still with his helmet on, so he's not willing to unmask just yet. We'll have a little bit of a chat about the race that was up in the green room. Furitani will be, I think, watching that one back and looking at that battle with Uchida, because that was as much fun, I'm sure, for him as it was for us. A really fun battle to watch that Furitani managed to come out on top of here in Japan. Fuji, of course, the next round of the season. We're going to see which of these battles carry over in May. Here's the race result in full then. Yuga Furitani takes it by 5 seconds over Nobuhiro Imada. Contact between him and eventual 3rd place finisher Yudai Uchida. Kanji Yagura taking 4th place, just ahead of Cold Max for Trofeo Pirelli Am honours. Akita 6th, Wayland 7th, Iritani, Isosaki and Shirasaki taking the top 10 then. Shirasaki, of course, winning in Copa Shell. Masaru Yaneda in 11th. Ryotaro Saito winning Copa Shell Am in 12th place ahead of Hiwatashi. Kawasaki and Kunihiro down to 15th. Shibata, Kenichi, Komatsu, John Leo and Shinya Nakajima rounding out the top 20. Katayama, Matsumoto, Omuri and Yamaguchi rounding out the finishing order. Miura and Kurakara with a drama late on. Phil Kim and Shimoyama also, of course, finding each other in that race and not reaching the flag. there is Uchida. I think he had a bit of a slow cool-down lap. I was wondering quite where he was. And he's, I think, giving the impression of a man who has been through it over the course of the last 40 minutes or so. He had some very exciting battles, of course, out there on the track. He was defending that lead for everything he was worth in the early stages. But I think he'll be happy with P3 once all is said and done. With that P3, I think he will be the first of the championship regulars in the points table. Because, of course, we didn't see Imada on the podium yesterday, and our race winner, Furitani, isn't scheduled to do the full season. Imada giving a bit of debrief there to Furitani. I think Furitani saying, so how come it was you second? What happened? They are analysing some of the battling that went on then during that race. Those of you that speak Japanese, should we earwig in on a little bit? If they start to discuss further, we might well do. There you see the 199 car after all of its damage, of course. This is always the great bit, isn't it? Little cinema that they've got set up in the green room to have a look at everything that happened, even some of the stuff that didn't involve them. Imada, I think, saying, nice move, mate, there. That was, of course, the moment where Furitani finally got through after many laps of trying. And there's Furitani's reaction. He now sees what happened between Imada and Uchida. It's always close battling, of course, with these identically spec'd, identically prepared cars. Sometimes they do end up meeting in the middle. Great to see the respect between them after their hard fights. It is a very friendly paddock, a very friendly community in Ferrari Challenge, above all else. There you can hear Uchida continuing to debrief and rehydrate. All important, of course, to do that after his very exciting race with Furitani and indeed with Imada. Here's Furitani's moment then. Race number 2, win number 2 for Furitani. Again, as perfect as a first weekend in the series can get. And clearly, his engineers agree. Furitani waving at the fans. Certainly won't be his last time here at Suzuka across his 2024 programs. There's Imada. 2 thumbs up for his second place finish. And thumbs up all round from the fans who were treated to a fabulous Ferrari Challenge Japan race. There is the all-important podium then. In just a few moments, we will welcome our drivers onto the podium. Third place then for Yuda Uchida. Look at him grinning. He's loves this Ferrari Challenge community, he loves racing in this category. And even when he doesn't get the top step, he always does so with a smile. Of course, this is the lowest he's ever finished in a Ferrari Challenge race. In 2023, it was 7 wins and a second place. So Uchida has never finished off the podium in Ferrari Challenge Japan. However, this is his first time being as low as 3rd place, and that tells you all you need to know about just how solid and consistent Yuda Uchida is. But on this weekend, Furitani was the man to beat. Furitani stands atop top step for the second time in as many days here at Suzuka. Uchida happy with his third place as our representatives from Ferrari and Pirelli hand over the trophies. Imada, with his first appearance on the podium this weekend, he scored solid points as he continues to fight Uchida for the championship, but no one could best the speed of Yuga Furitani this weekend in Ferrari Challenge Japan. This young man has made an impression on junior single-seaters in Japan. He's making waves in GT racing too, and certainly he has left an impression on Ferrari Challenge Japan, and he treated us to one fabulous battle with Yuda Uchida on his way to victory. Our drivers then share the top step as the pictures are taken. This will be one for the memory banks of all three drivers, I'm sure. And since they don't need to use these race suits again for a few weeks, I suspect the next step is champagne. And of course, it's the youngster who bears the brunt. Excellent stuff. Yuga Furitani and co celebrate on the podium then. 2 wins for him. He'll be keen to come back soon, I'm sure. It'll be Uchida with the championship lead among the regulars. You can see updates and quotes from the press conference on the Ferrari website in the hours following this race. And of course, if you want to see more, you only have to wait until the 11th and 12th of May when the Ferrari Challenge Japan will take to Fuji. Before that, Mugello and Brands Hatch host the beginning of the UK and European seasons. A lot of exciting Ferrari Challenge action to come over the next few weeks.